Imagine your life as a vessel, meant to hold joy, peace, and fulfillment. But what happens when that vessel has tiny cracks? The joy leaks out little by little, leaving us feeling drained and unfulfilled. These cracks are what I call joy leaks. They show up in sneaky ways through habits, thoughts, or beliefs that quietly drain away your happiness. Let's take a look at what the Bible says about this concept. In Jeremiah 2:13, God says, "My people have committed two sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water." You see, just like these broken cisterns, we often turn to things that we think will bring us fulfillment. And there are three things that surfaced in my research: comparison, performance, and societal pressures. The truth is, they can never hold the joy we're looking for. Yet, we so easily get sucked into it, looking for joy in those leaky cisterns. And eventually, they leave us feeling empty and exhausted. So let's talk about the first cistern, the leaky cistern of comparison. In my book, I wrote, "Comparison is the thief of joy." This was a quote by Roosevelt, and it robs us of the contentment that comes from appreciating where we are right now. And really let that sink in. Comparison is the thief of joy. Doesn't that sound like a joy drain? When we compare ourselves to others, it's like adding a crack in our vessel. Instead of celebrating our own progress, we focus on what we think we're lacking. It whispers, "You're not enough. You should be more like them." And with every thought like that, a little more joy slips away. And this is very subtle because in my book, I share a personal story of having a joy drain, going through a transition in my life. And at first, I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know why I felt that way. And there are things that we have gone through growing up, messages that we've heard that kind of stick to us. And it's important for us to be able to process it. So I encourage you to read the chapter, Leaky Cistern of Comparison, chapter 2, and go through it and just take a moment and pause, and with your accountability partner or your Sparkle Joy partner, I want you to talk about it and really identify this comparison leak, because it is so rampant in our society. I share about how even in our classrooms today, when I go and observe, I tell a story of observing a student teacher and just seeing how comparison seeps up and steals the joy of even a fun activity. So I encourage you to read that chapter. The second leak is a leaky cistern of performance. This one hits hard because many of us, myself included, have grown up believing that our worth is tied to what we achieve. In this chapter, I wrote, when your value is based on performance, you find yourself on a never-ending treadmill, constantly running but never arriving. Some of us achievers out there, I'm talking to you. You reach one goal and you feel like you have to reach the next. Does that sound familiar? This constant striving, this need to do more, to feel like you're enough, it's draining. You might get temporary high from a new achievement, but it never lasts. It's just another crack in the vessel. And our last leaky cistern is a leaky cistern of societal pressures. In the book I've shared, society paints a picture of success, but often it's a picture that has nothing to do with our deepest desires. Take a moment and let that sink in. We're bombarded with messages about who we should be, how we should look, what we should achieve. And if we let these messages take root, we start pouring our joy into a vessel that's not even our own. It's like trying to fill up a bucket with holes. It does not work. So what about you? Where do you see these leaky cisterns in your life? Is comparison stealing your joy? Are you constantly striving to prove yourself through performance? Or are you feeling the weight of societal pressures telling you who you have to be? Take a moment to reflect on these questions. I want to invite you to write down what comes to mind. No judgment, just awareness. Because identifying these leaks is the first step in sealing them and making room for the kind of joy that doesn't just slip away. Remember, you're not alone in this. We all have leaks in our vessels. I've shared with you some very personal stories of my own joy leaks in the book, so I encourage you to read it if you can't connect. But together, we're going to seal them one by one so you can hold on to the joy that is meant for you. I hope this lesson has given you some powerful insights into the joy leaks that may be holding you back. In our next lesson, we'll dive into the first steps to sealing those leaks and making space for joy to flow freely in your life. Can't wait to see you there. Until then, remember, you're worthy of a life filled with joy. So let's make it happen together.